Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to today's lesson, Michaela DePrince, the War Orphan Who Became a Ballerina, written by William Kremer. This is a magazine article. It is non-fiction writing, and this is our first reading assignment. So you want to keep that essential question at the front of everything when you're reading. And the question is, what are some of the challenges and triumphs of growing up? Now, when you read this article, make sure you keep this in mind and what the article might teach you about challenges that some children face and how they have overcome them. So when you're doing your first read of this nonfiction article, first, we want you to just notice the general ideas of the text. What is it about? Who is involved? Then we want you to connect with ideas within the selection to what you already know or what you have already read. Then when you do your next reading, your close reading, you're going to annotate. You're going to be marking key vocabulary and phrases that you want to revisit or things that stand out to you. You'll want to respond by writing a brief summary of the paragraphs in the side margin. So writers of nonfiction magazine articles often use specific techniques to help keep their readers engaged. One of them is writing in sequence of events, meaning they're writing in order of how things have happened. But they also could be using flashback. Flashback means that they're in the present time and then all of a sudden they go back to a memory or a moment earlier in their life that they want to tell you about. Then they could also be using flash forward, where they go way forward from being maybe 2 to being 25 now. So these techniques are used because they help engage the readers in some way, just like well-written plots of a narrative story can grab a reader's attention. So these are things that we want you to keep in mind when reading and annotating Michaela DePrince. We also want you to keep in mind that you should circle or highlight the concept vocabulary words. There are 3 of them for this article, and it is antagonism, refugee, and distraught. We also want you to mark details that give insight into Michaela's feelings because there's a lot of time and effort put into making sure we understand what she was thinking and feeling as she was going through certain events in her life. Then you should be highlighting or underlining important events from Michaela's life. And finally, consider the sequence of events of what happened most recently in the article. So your assignment is to first do all of your annotating and answering the question in your My Perspectives book. This is also going to be done on a Google Doc by you to turn in. First, though, you should be reading or listening to the Michaela DePrince War Orphan Who Became a Ballerina, paragraphs 1 through 8, once through fully without annotating. Now, the audio of these paragraphs is posted in the Google Classroom assignment. So again, you can read it or listen to it or do both. But the first time through, you're doing just that, reading or listening, getting those wheels turning in your head. These are located on page 51 and 52 of your My Perspectives book. Then once you're done with your first read, you're getting ready to go in for your close read. This is where you are now going to annotate your article while you're reading or listening to it. Circle words that you don't know. Circle and underline those key concept vocabulary words. Underline things that stand out to you. Write notes on the side of the article. Things like, Michaela must have been feeling this, or how scary this would have been, or, oh, this happened also in the beginning of the article. Then you're going to answer question number 1 on page 55 of your book. This question is also going to be answered on your Google Doc. But first, you do all of this work in your My Perspectives book. Once you're done with all the work in your My Perspectives book, go to your Google Doc assignment and complete questions 1 and 2, and then put your answer for question number 1 onto this Google Doc as well. So this is what your Google Doc is going to look like. So number 1, first, from paragraphs 1 through 8 of Michaela DePrince, War Orphan Who Became a Ballerina, please write at least 2 bullet points below sharing your annotated notes you wrote on the side of the article. That's the important part of question number 1, is these are the things that you wrote on the side of the article. Your thoughts and interaction with the text go here. And you need to make sure that you include a connection or why this is important. This is a 2-part question. You can't just write your thought on the side. You need to have that connection with the article. Then number 2, want you to include 2 bulleted points of words or phrases that you circled, highlighted, or underlined in the text. This is the parts where you're actually marking the text itself. You're underlining, you're circling, you're drawing arrows. This could also tie in with things that you wrote on the side, but the big thing is that they were circled or underlined. This is what goes next to these 2 bullets. You must also include